Warner Bros. Has turned into an absolute disgrace of a company in regards to gaming. Honestly, in regards to film as well. They are the definition of shooting themselves into the foot and taking really great developers and really great studios along with them with their dumb ass decisions. As of yesterday, they have shut down Monolith Productions, the studio that created Fear, one of the greatest horror shooter franchises of all time, bona fide classic. They also created the Shadows game, both Shadows of War in the original Shadows of Mordor, which created the Nemesis system, a system that was patented by Warner Bros. Themselves and did nothing with. They also canceled their Wonder Woman game and closed the Multiverses studio. But before I continue my rant and talk about why Warner Bros. Should just leave gaming the hell alone for at least the foreseeable future, thank you guys so much for over 1,000 subscribers. If you guys are new to the channel, you like gaming news, gaming reviews for RPGs and other genres and games as well that I am interested in, please like and subscribe if you do like what you see here. Now let's get into this and rant. So first, let's talk about what has Warner Bros. Done lately in gaming. Well, the biggest news has been their absolute failure in Suicide Squad, where they made Rocksteady create a live service Suicide Squad game after years and years and years of experience creating incredible single-player games with the Batman Arkham series. This game didn't even last a year. It was a completely soulless live service experience that didn't treat any of the characters appropriately to what these characters actually represent within the universe of DC. And some of these characters, like the Joker for example, was portrayed perfectly by the same studio that created Suicide Squad. But Warner Bros., they had to get lightning in a bottle. They had to have a live service game that was as big as Fortnite, that was as big as Destiny. Then they had to force Rocksteady, a company, like I mentioned, beloved for their classic single-player experience. They had to force them to create a live service game so they could make money, and it failed. That's not what this studio was known for doing. That's not what they have experience doing. You set them up completely for failure. And now let's talk about Multiverses, a game that did catch lightning in a bottle within their beta. A game that had a character roster all the way from LeBron James to Scooby-Doo. This game was blowing up. Hundreds of thousands of concurrent players playing it on Steam in its beta, but it had some issues. The biggest issue being the netcode. The game was definitely bleeding out players at this time. However, instead of keeping the game live, adding new characters, adding new maps, new content into the game over the course of the beta, and then releasing hopefully a big update when you launch the game with a better netcode, Warner Bros. Decides to pull this off the market. Nobody can play it anymore, which in my opinion caused a lot of people not to necessarily care about the quote-unquote full release of this game. When the game did eventually come out, the only thing that was fixed was the netcode, granted. However, the game didn't even feel like the original Multiverses that released. It was worse in almost every single way. They literally pulled content out of this game. They changed the monetization system to be one of the most money-hungry monetization systems I've ever seen. In the beta, it was not very hard to actually go and unlock new characters after a decent amount of games, but now you have to play hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to literally unlock the full roster of characters. You couldn't even try out characters anymore, so if you thought a character looked interesting, you no longer could do that. You could do that in the beta, but you can't do that now. So all of this time to purchase a character and actually play a character you want to play, you don't even know if you want to play that character because you can't try them out. They changed all of the character profile pictures to these clay dog-ass looking models when in the beta they looked really damn good. There was no match stats anymore. There was no leaderboard anymore. You couldn't even play 1v1 or 2v2 against AIs. Now some of this is a tad understandable. They had to build this game basically from the ground up to really fix all of these netcode issues. But the thing is, you can't release a game that's not even as good as the beta you had previously put out. You should have kept the beta live, which again is a Warner Bros. Decision. You should have kept the beta live. put people on to still developing content, albeit at a slower pace for the beta so people could play it, and when the game releases, it's a smooth transition to the full game. You could have still kept it in beta, released the full game, people transition over, and not release the full game until at least it was as good, if not better than the beta, with the netcode issues fixed. This completely cooked anybody's excitement, in my opinion, for multiverses. It was not going to hit lightning in a bottle twice. That just does not happen. They were very lucky to do that the first time around with the initial Multiverses beta release. And then on top of this, with all of the monetization systems that were completely changed to juice their pockets up as much as possible, Warner Bros. Just, again, shooting themselves in the foot and ruining something that could have been absolutely incredible. But now let's get back to the Monolith Productions situation. Again, the studio that created Fear, the studio that created Shadows of War, and then the studio that created Shadows of Mordor, another one that released with loot boxes in it. Thanks to Warner Bros., you ruined an incredible single-player experience in Shadows of War and made loot boxes and time-gated mechanics that you have to pay for in the second game, which blows my mind, but it was still a great game in terms of the gameplay and what the actual studio, Monolith Productions, did for it. But one of the biggest things that they created in these games was the nemesis system, where you go up against different rivals that every time you kill them, they get stronger, or you can make them a part of your team. This was such a cool ass system and really made you feel like the NPCs were your real rivals and were real living beings out in this world that remembered you and remembered your previous fights that you go up against again, and they get even stronger and they develop different ways to beat you, knowing how they've beat you or how you beat them in the past. This was such a cool system that, again, Warner Bros. Patented and we've never seen again. No other company in any part of gaming outside of Warner Bros. Was ever allowed to use a system like this, which they could have benefited greatly from. Warner Bros. Just straight up decides to make a completely net negative decision for gaming as a whole. Any other company, any other game, any other studio could have used this system in their game if it made sense to make their game better. They could potentially innovate on the system as well to make that system better as well. Imagine if someone, for example, made a roguelike and made this system in their roguelike, so every time you fight a boss, you beat it one way, they say, we're gonna start developing mechanics. We're gonna remember the last time you came here and develop mechanics to stop the way you beat us last time. I don't know, throwing it out of my head, but there's a lot of cool things you could do with this system. But no, if Monolith wanted to make another game, for example, using the Nemesis system, they wouldn't be able to benefit from any of the other companies in the industry potentially innovating on this system as well and making it better, which could in turn benefit the next Monolith Productions game as well. But we'll never get another one because the studio's closed down. I cannot believe the last two Shadows games were the last time we were ever going to play a Monolith Productions game. A studio that has pretty much only made very good games. This was a great studio. The game that they were working on right now was Wonder Woman, which should have come out with the Wonder Woman movies to actually capitalize on the hype. I don't know how many people were really still excited for a Wonder Woman game, but again, if you were excited, sorry, we'll never see it. And now they want to focus on bigger, higher quality releases. It's absolute BS when they're calling their own releases not high quality, when the reason they weren't high quality was in very large part Warner Bros. Fault. But man, I just cannot believe Warner Bros., who has the biggest IPs of almost any company out there. They have Lord of the Rings. They have Game of Thrones. They have Harry Potter. They have Mortal Kombat. They have DC everything. And even more big IPs than that, but it just blows my mind the decisions that Warner Bros. Has been making with these gigantic juggernauts out there in the media that have so many different fans attached to them that would love to play a good game from these franchises. Now, I've seen other people talk about it, and I think it's true that Warner Bros., get the hell out of gaming. Let other companies that are passionate about these characters, passionate about these franchises, make the games for you. Don't even think about having a gaming section for Warner Bros. In general. Just get out of it. Do what Marvel's doing. Look at Insomniac with the Spider-Man games, for example. Massively successful, not live service, single player, what players want, very good games. fun games, etc. Sorry for the rant today, guys, but I was just trying to wrap my head around what the hell has been going on, at least yesterday, with all of the news coming out that we just talked about, as well as just what the hell Warner Bros. Has been doing for the last year and a half. It's been blowing my mind all the way, honestly, back since they patented the nemesis system. Just in general, bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, but I would love to hear down below in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think they should just get out of gaming as a whole? Is there other decisions that I didn't talk about here that you want to highlight down in the comments as well? Do you have a different perspective and think Warner Bros. Isn't to blame here? I would love to hear what you guys think. I always want to talk to you guys, especially if you have some different perspectives. Thank you guys for watching this video. The Avowed review is coming tomorrow. Next week, I'm going to have a first impressions and review of Monster Hunter Wilds, so stay tuned for that. If you guys like this video, again, like the video and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!